Educating, empowering, and inspiring you to live healthier is our mission. So let's begin. Hey, Health Warriors. This is episode number 72 of the Life, Strength, and Health podcast. I'm Kim, and I'm joined with Jamal.
Greetings, everyone.
And
peace and blessings.
Yes. And thank you for joining us this week. In this episode, we are going to discuss ways to get better sleep. And before we dive into that, we just want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by healthwarrior.co, and healthwarrior.co is our private health community where we help you to reach your health goals, to live a more natural and holistic lifestyle by providing the accountability, support, education, and guidance for you to do so. And we do that with our extensive health library, with our extensive and in-depth food library. We have an interactive help forum, live monthly trainings and live Q&A sessions, and exclusive member discounts on programs and services, as well as a way to work with Jamal and myself on a one-on-one basis or within a group setting. So if you are ready to take your health into your own hands and take responsibility for your health, our Health Warrior community may be the place for you. To learn more about that, go to healthwarrior.co. So now let's segue into our organic food for thought. And in last week's podcast, we spoke about how 1 out of every 5 children are obese. And there is a new initiative starting in Europe to stop using the word obese and overweight to parents in regards to their children. And doctors and school nurses are being encouraged to start using the terminology healthy weight status and healthier lifestyles. And 85% of parents with obese children don't even recognize that their children are actually overweight and find the term obese to be offensive.
You know, I personally think that might be a little dangerous. One of the things that I see in our society is that we tend to change terminology and change the perception of things that are typically dysfunctional or out of balance to make them more socially acceptable. You know, we have a trend in our society that we're moving more toward an overweight society. You know, over 60% of the adult population is overweight or obese. And now it looks like we're headed in that direction for children as well. And what you see is now as we market to adults, now we're using, and we've covered this in previous podcasts, we use certain terminologies, big bone, thick, plus size, right, things to make it sound nice and acceptable. And I think that it's okay. I think that everyone should feel comfortable in their skin. But at the same time, I think it's important that we not miss the fact that it can be unhealthy, and that you should be working toward moving to a healthy weight, something that is going to extend your lifespan, right? So I think that it's important that we don't lose focus of that, because when we get away from that with our children, it starts to become acceptable as well when it's really not. And I also thought that it was very interesting that most parents don't really see or recognize when their children are overweight. And I think it just kind of goes back to our misconception, because I think you see it at a very early age with children. And that's this need to make them gain all of this weight and begin to make parents self-conscious at a very early age that their child is underweight. And I think that then when you start to see your child begin to put this weight on, you view that, oh, they're a child, they're growing, this is a good thing. And you look at it as they need it. And it sets the platform for obesity, because obviously we want to make our children happy. But when we see them putting weight on, we don't see that as a problem. So I think that this pushes us in the wrong direction if we begin to get away from using the terms overweight overweight and obese for children and just saying we need them at a healthy weight status or a healthier lifestyle. What do you think about that?
I think so. And also, especially within the Black community, for us women, a lot of times, even as adults, some of our clients, when they begin to lose weight and reach their natural weight or, body type, it's like something in the mind triggers you say, oh no, I'm too skinny.
Yeah.
Or I won't be as attractive because I'm not thick. So it kind of even goes into adulthood as well.
Right. I agree. So, I definitely see this as going in the wrong direction. And I think it's important for us to be honest, to have honest dialogue. Like when you come to our holistic center, I'm going to be honest with you about certain things. I'm not going to, just kind of delicately dance around it so that you don't get the point. And I think that if parents already are in denial about the health status of their children, it seems like this reinforces the denial by not addressing the issue for what it is.
And it certainly hurts as a parent to admit, your child is overweight. I mean, any parent, you almost, you take full responsibility, but it's getting past that and addressing it so that your children can develop and have healthy eating habits and better health as adults. So I know sometimes, especially as mothers, you feel guilty when mistakes are made, but we are not perfect. And, as long as we understand that our parents made mistakes for us and we turned out okay too. So you just have to, just be honest with it and look at the bigger picture and what eating habits and health habits am I instilling in my child? And it's, anything, it's not too late. Like, don't feel like, oh, why even worry about it now? Or it won't be easy to change certain habits that were established with your child, and just understand that you're doing it for their betterment. And it starts with us. It really starts with us, because children do what they see, not what you tell them most of the times. They're always looking, even when you don't think they're looking. And this is even more so of an encouragement and motivation for us as parents to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing last thing that I just want to point out that I see is a lot of times parents will look at their children at a certain health condition, especially with like obesity, like their child will be overweight. And then they'll look at the parents and say, oh, no, their parents are bigger, like, oh, his father's big or his mother is big. And we say that, oh, they're just built like their parent. But we don't want to fall into, like if the parent has an imbalance, we don't want to fall into, oh, it's okay for the child to have an imbalance because the adult has the imbalance. It just means that they have the same tendencies as their parents, but it doesn't mean that they're just destined to be overweight or to have a particular health challenge. There are things that you can do to bring your child into balance. And I think it starts with awareness.
Yes, definitely. So now let's dive into the topic of this week's episode, and it's all about how to get better sleep. And I'm really excited to talk about this topic. We just concluded, or we're about to conclude, I should say, our sleep challenge in our Health Warrior community. And it went great, and we were seeing great results. Sleep, is often not talked about enough in terms of living a healthy lifestyle. And we wanted to dive deeper into this topic to peel back some layers, discuss some misconceptions, so that we can properly understand how important sleep is to overall health and how to improve our sleep so that we feel the best and look the best that we can be. And, sleep in our culture, and I can certainly, I'm guilty of thinking this in the past, where when you, like, as an entrepreneur, you don't have a traditional 9-to-5 schedule. it's almost, you have many hats that you're wearing, and you're always thinking about your business. You're always thinking about ways to improve it. What can I do? It's always something to do. And then you top on that, for me, responsibilities of a mother and wife and other things that I'm involved with. There's certainly, for me, not enough hours in the day. It seems like you blink and the day is over. And a lot of times you put in more time than you should in completing certain tasks and goals and responsibilities. And there's a misconception, I should say, in our culture where if you sleep too much, you're lazy. That if you don't put it on the line, you don't really want it. You're not fighting hard enough. And I think it just created this culture of just like, it's normal not to get enough sleep. And that's kind of like where we're at as a society.
Yeah, I agree. I think that in our society, sleep is looked at as a luxury. Like it's something that either you have a luxury to get extra sleep, or you're being lazy. And I think that on our podcast, we really try to focus on a holistic perspective, really looking at the whole picture. And it seems like we neglect all of these little things that really matter. We look at one thing, like we blame one thing as being a culprit. But what we're finding out and what research is revealing is that it's all of these little things that contribute. So we can't villainize one thing. I know the hot villain right now is animal products, right? So we blame animal products for so many different things. But as we look at the research, sleep deprivation will contribute and enhance a lot of these issues, right? And it's not just sleep, it's just so many other things. So I think it's really important that we start looking at these little things that we neglect. Actually, sleep is a really big thing, but looking at these little things that we neglect and understand how important they are to us. I remember in my young adult years, sleep was looked at so negatively that, we used to brag among my friends, like we used to brag about how little sleep we got and how little sleep we needed. And I remember for a while, I was only functioning on 4 hours of sleep for a very long time. And I used to brag, I only need 4 hours of sleep because I eat this way, because I take better care of myself. My body requires less sleep. But come to find out later, that was very ignorant. And, it's just a reflection of our society, because the definition of sleep deprivation is sleep less when you sleep less than 6 hours a night. But when we look at the national average of sleep, the average American right now, and I'm not sure how it is for other countries, but the average American is getting 5 hours of sleep. So like clinically, everyone is sleep deprived, right? So when we look at the things that come with sleep deprivation, I'm wondering if the majority of the issues that our country is dealing with are rooted in sleep deprivation. Don't get me wrong. I know that there are other factors as well, especially stress and emotional components as well as nutritional components. But I'm just wondering if sleep, well, I'm not even wondering. I know that sleep plays a much bigger role in the health challenges that we have than the average person realizes. So I think it's important for us to really bring attention to sleep. I think that this is one of the most important pieces of the puzzle. It deserves a lot of attention, and it's something that we're definitely going to talk about again in the future. We do our research on sleep and we see the importance of it. People that come into the office, we really try to encourage them to get sleep, especially for those who are not getting enough. But we are no sleep specialists. This is a journey of us learning as well. And eventually I would love to have a sleep specialist on the show to talk about this on a deeper level.
So now let's discuss why sleep is so important. Sleep helps with repair and recovery.
And that's pretty obvious. That's what most people know. sleep does. The interesting thing is we know that it's for repair and recovery, and we still don't allow ourselves enough sleep in order to repair and recover. So a lot of people, they go so hard in one direction. Like I know a lot of people that get up really early in the morning to work out. So they may only get 3, sometimes 4 hours of sleep to go work out. And the workout isn't what improves you. It's not what increases your metabolism. It's not what builds lean muscle. It's the rest. It's the recovery, right? So if you're not giving yourself the recovery time, all you're doing is constantly breaking down, putting stress on your body. So I think that one is obvious, but maybe it's not so obvious.
Right. Sleep also helps with stress levels.
And I think that is really, really important because the average person nowadays is super stressed. We're not doing anything for stress. So you at least want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep.
Yes. Sleep also helps with digestion.
Yeah, if you're having some digestive challenges, you want to check your sleep. Make sure that your sleep is adequate enough.
Yes. Only one night with the lack of sleep will cause as much insulin resistance as a type 2 diabetic. This will decrease libido, speed up the aging process, and cause storing of body fat. And this is according to the Sleep Smarter book written by Shawn Stevens.
Yeah, I'll just say this. In other words, that one night of sleep deprivation will resemble type 2 diabetes in your body, right? And that's automatically going to decrease your libido, and it's automatically going to cause you to store body fat. Like, that's a really big deal. Think about that. Type 2 diabetes, just from not sleeping. It's not saying that you have it, but your body is acting like you have that. So imagine 2 days of not getting enough rest, 3 days, 4 days. Imagine a whole year of being sleep deprived, right? You're basically, like, if your body's mimicking it, you're basically a type 2 diabetic. That's a big deal.
Yes. And, research also reveals that sleep deprivation increases heart disease risk.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. We're seeing where this is going and how devastating it could be to your health.
Right. A lack of sleep also weakens the immune system.
Right. And I know over here on the East Coast, we're moving into the winter season, which is also cold flu season for a lot of people. So this is definitely not the time to lack any sleep.
Right. A lack of sleep also affects your hormones. It can cause an hormonal imbalance.
Yeah, I was reading one research on it. I'm going to try to find it so that we can post it. But it was saying that less than 6 hours of sleep doesn't give your body enough time to balance out your hormones. So you automatically have some level of hormonal imbalance when you're not getting in 6 hours of sleep per night, especially in men. Your testosterone begins to decrease when you sleep less than 6 hours a night. And after 2 weeks of getting less than 6 hours per night, you can have a 20% decrease in testosterone. Like, that is serious in just 2 weeks from not getting enough sleep. So again, that's 2 weeks. Imagine a year. Imagine 2 years of not getting at least 6 hours of sleep. That's a really big deal.
Right. A lack of sleep also affects your energy levels. You can decrease them.
Yeah, and we all know this, sleep gives you energy. So a lot of people are fatigued often and they have low energy. And the interesting thing is we live in a society where we like the quick fixes. If you have a headache, you take some ibuprofen or something like that, as opposed to really addressing like dehydration, drinking some water, something like that. Instead, we go for the quick fixes. So a lot of times when we don't have energy, we'll just reach for coffee or we'll reach for some type of stimulant, as opposed to saying, you know what, I'm only getting 3-4 hours of sleep. Maybe that's why I'm tired in the first place. So, energy is a big thing.
And when you don't get enough sleep, when you have a lack of sleep, this can cause your body not to send enough glucose to your brain, which affects your cognitive ability.
Right. The research shows that just by sleep deprivation, you're going to decrease the glucose traveling to your brain by 6%, which is a big deal. And what's going to happen is that's going to actually affect your mental stamina. It's going to affect your memory. It's going to affect your ability to think. And what Shawn Stevens says is he quotes that it actually makes you dumber, which is crazy. But another thing is when you're not getting enough sugar to the brain, because your body wants to make up for this glucose and try to get it to your brain, you tend to crave sweets and sugar so that you can get more energy.
And lastly, one of the things that we wanted to talk about in regards to a lack of sleep is that a lack of sleep can increase your chance of cancer.
Yeah. And just with the cancer rates really starting to skyrocket, that should be enough alone to really make you rethink how much sleep you're getting a night. It's going to have an effect on you. It's going to play a role on your metabolism and your weight overall. If you're having difficulty losing weight, it's cool to look at the food, but you really need to take a look at your sleep. I think that that's a really important area that a lot of people are neglecting.
Yes. So now that we dived into or covered why sleep is so important, we're going to cover 5 tips on how to improve your sleep so that you can get better sleep. And the first thing that we suggest is to avoid screens at night.
Yeah, one of the things that your screens gives off is blue light. And what blue light does is it's an artificial light that tells your brain that it's daytime out. So we're looking at our laptops, we're looking at our phones, we're looking at our TV, we're looking at our tablets. All of these devices are giving off blue light, and it's telling the body that it's daytime. So it's actually night, but our body thinks that it's day. So what happens is we don't produce nighttime hormones. We end up producing daytime hormones. So obviously at night, you should be producing the correct hormones. So that automatically affects the quality of your sleep and the quality of your body to be able to balance out your hormones properly. So that is a really important thing. And what we recommend is to not have any exposure to any screens. You really want to back off from your screens about 90 minutes before bedtime, right? That might seem like a lot for a lot of people because we're so used to technology and we're so used to devices. But if you can just kind of step away 90 minutes before you go to bed, that's going to improve the quality of your sleep. And then sometimes, we just can't for whatever reason, whether it's work related or, we just have to jump on really quickly. I know that everyone is pretty busy. In that case, we recommend blue light filters more as your last resort. So on your cell phones, if you have like a recent, the most recent phone version, it should have a blue light filter on it. So look in your settings and you should be able to find blue light filter. If not, you can go to the App Store and you can download a blue light filter for the Androids. We have Androids. We use the program called Twilight. And for the iPhones, they have blue light filters. You look them up and you can find them on there. For laptops and desktops and things like that, there's a program called F.Lux. That's F.LUX. And that is a blue light filter for your computers. So I think it's really important to filter this blue light out. So at night, your body is able to produce nighttime hormones.
Another way to improve your sleep is to cut off the caffeine.
That's really important. We live in a caffeine society, being that we don't have enough energy and our mood is low. We turn to that stimulant to really lift us up, right? But you need to have a cutoff. Caffeine can have an effect on you for up to 8 hours. Even if you don't feel it, it's having some type of effect on you for 8 hours. So ideally, you want to make sure that you're not having your coffee or any type of caffeine stimulant, whether it's green tea or black tea or something like that. You want to try to not consume those things within 8 hours of your bedtime.
Yes. Another thing you can do to improve your sleep is to create a blackout room.
This is really important because I know a lot of people actually sleep with the lights on. They sleep with their television on. They have all different types of lights and things like that. But the darker your room is, the deeper and better you will sleep. So ideally, you want to try to turn everything off. Any little lights that are flickering in your room. Sometimes you have your alarm clock. You have the clock on your cable box. You have the to your computer modem. You got the little lights on there. You want to try to black everything out. You want to have blackout shades and blinds. You want your room to be completely dark as possible, because it's your body just doesn't have light sensors in the eyes. It actually has light sensors on your skin. So even if you have the what is it called? The thing, the sleep, what is like a sleep blindfold? What are those called? The things you put in your eyes? Yeah. Was it just eye covers?
Yeah.
So the eye covers, even with the eye covers, even though it's black, don't get me wrong, those are better. But if the lights are on and your body's being exposed to the light, it's going to have an effect on your skin. And even the sounds from the TV and the flickering, that's going to have an effect on your skin. Maybe a little soft music, really soft, music, something that you don't have to think, just instrumentals. Maybe that can be relaxing, but you really want to try to create a proper sleep environment.
And the temperature. I mean, I was fighting this for a while, but the cooler the room, the better you sleep.
Absolutely. Yeah. The studies show that sleeping between a temperature of 60 and 68 degrees is the most ideal for sleep. So if you find yourself to be a cold person, you're better off just putting on a little bit more cover, but allowing that room to be cooler, and you will sleep better.
Yes. Another way to improve your sleep is to create wind down time.
Yeah, I think that this is really important. When people come into the office and they're talking about they can't sleep, and you really begin to ask questions, what I find is that, for example, let's say if you bring work home with you, people will work on the laptop until 10:30 and then say, okay, time for bed. And then they'll just close the laptop, brush their teeth, and go to bed. And it's just too much activity. Like, you need wind down time. So ideally, the longer the better. I would say 90 minutes is ideal, but if you can't do that, you want to at least allow yourself 20 to 30 minutes to actually step away from everything and allow yourself to wind down. Step away from the TV, step away from work. Don't do exercise like right before bed. Begin to create a sleep environment, right? Because we have a very well lit apartments and homes, too much light. We have to dim the lights, and you want to create this relaxing environment. You shouldn't be stimulated with all of this light in your home. So you really want to tone things down a bit. Maybe do some reading, right? Maybe relax and read, or have conversation with family and friends. But you really want to begin that process. Maybe meditation. You just want to begin that process of calming your mind down. So when it's time to go to sleep, it's actually ready for rest. You have to create a sleep environment, and that starts before you actually get into the bed.
Yes. And our final tip on ways to improve your sleep is to create a scheduled bedtime.
I think that this is really important because a lot of times we neglect sleep so much that it's an afterthought. So if you have a long day and you have a lot to get done, the average person will just work until they get the task done. And whatever time it is the time that they go to bed. But you actually need to schedule your sleep. If you need to get in 7 to 8 hours, research shows that 7 to 8.5 hours of sleep is ideal. So if you need to get that much rest, you have to plan it. If you have to get up at 6 a.m, and in order to get 8 hours, that means you have to be in bed by 10, then that's something that you actually have to schedule in your calendar, right? You have to plan your sleep, just like you plan to get up at a certain time. You have to plan your sleep to make sure that you have enough hours to do what it is that you have to do. If you have a meeting or some type of engagement and it's going to be an hour, 2 hours, you plan for it. Sleep is so important that we need to plan that. And as far as like a hormonal perspective, you produce the most sleep hormones and balancing hormones between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. in the morning. So sleep that you get during those hours, it counts more. It benefits your body more than sleeping at any other time of the day. So you want to try to capitalize on those hours of sleep the most. So the ideal time for people to go to bed is at 10 p.m. and try to get as much of that window as possible. I know that 10 o'clock is not always realistic, and a lot of times it's not realistic to me. Sometimes we don't walk in the door from the office until 10 o'clock. So obviously we're not getting to bed at 10, but the more of that window you can get, the better. So that is really important when it comes to sleep.
Right. So those are our top 5 tips on getting better sleep. And hopefully you can start to incorporate some of them if you haven't already started. And if you are, we love to hear from you. Like, leave a comment on the blog, on the show notes page of this episode, or wherever you listen to this. Leave us a comment, or on social media on Facebook or Instagram, and let us know, how your sleep is going. And if you have incorporated any of these tips, has it helped to improve? Was it difficult to incorporate? We'd love to hear from you. And for access to the show notes pages for this podcast episode, we will list Shawn Stevens' book on sleep, which is a really good book to read. Just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/72. That's lifestrengthandhealth.com/72 for access to the show notes pages. And before we go, we would love to invite you over to our private Facebook group. It's free. And if you want to connect and gather with other like-minded individuals looking to live a natural and holistic lifestyle, looking to learn how to do that, we have a great group, and Jamal and I are in there on a regular basis as well. Just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/group. That's lifestrengthandhealth.com/group to access our free Facebook group, and we would love to have you over there. Okay, so thanks for listening, and until next time, live healthier.
Peace and blessings, everyone. Stay healthy.